Hello, welcome to Toxic Masculinity. This is Mr. Anderson, as always. And today I'm going to be doing a response to the 36 questions women have for men video done by BuzzFeed Yellow. Yes, the ass cancer of the internet, among other things. Now, to be fair, this isn't really, 36 questions that women have for men. It's really 36 questions that feminists have for sane people. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do a response video to this, and it's not just because a lot of other people have, but because I feel I have my own thing that I can add to it. So what I'm going to do here is, they ask stupid questions, so I'm going to reply with a stupid question of my own, and then in most cases I'll be, giving a actual straight answer that they still probably won't get, but I'll go ahead and give it anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get into this.
How does it feel to be the same sex as Donald Trump?
How does it feel to be the same sex as Angela Merkel?
Why do you hate rom-coms? Or do you just feel like you need to hate them?
Everybody likes The Notebook. Everybody likes Beyonce. It's just a fact.
Why do you hate TNA flicks so much? I mean, everybody loves tits, everybody loves ass, right? I mean, that's pretty much how Beyonce got her fame, wasn't it? Okay, so seriously, the reason why most guys don't particularly care for rom-coms, well, let's be honest, most of them are not that good. I mean, I know they invoke the feels, but men, we don't really like to have those kind of feels invoked in us. It's just not in our nature. And as for the everybody liking The Notebook, no, not everybody liked that film. There's no film that was loved by everybody. I mean, not everybody liked Star Wars. I mean, certainly J.J. Abrams didn't love it too much.
Why do you make women sit around and talk about men in movies
When y'all easily just sit around and talk about boobs for hours?
Why do you make men talk about rom-coms when you can go off and talk to each other about your periods all day long? Seriously though, where the hell did that even come from? I don't know any guy that I've never heard of any guy ever making any girl talking about other men in movies. I mean, if anything, guys don't want women to talk about other men in movies because, women usually have favorable things to say to those men and get them jealous. And, and just FYI, it doesn't take us hours to talk about, women's boobs, as you like to put it. I mean, it pretty much only takes us a few seconds to go, "Oh, she got great tits. Yeah, she got great tits. Yeah. Yeah, we can go on like that for about maybe a few minutes, but then we usually go on to other things. So I don't know where that question came from. It was just asinine. Most of these are asinine, but that one was particularly asinine.
Why do you automatically assume that you won't like TV or movies that star a female lead?
Why do you automatically assume a movie doesn't have any merit because it doesn't have a female lead? I mean, men didn't really used to think that way. I mean, we really used to not care. I mean, if you look at the movie Alien, that had a female lead, and that was one of the greatest, most influential sci-fi movies of all time. But nowadays, it does matter because, I mean, if you look at Alien, I mean, yes, Ripley happened to be a female, but that really didn't matter in the long scheme. She survived because she was the smartest. Nowadays, if you see a woman in the a female in the lead role, it's not going to be about the story. It's going to be about her and her journey, and she's struggling. And well, okay, that part is fine, but the thing is, it's going to be a message about how women are oppressed, or it's going to be about her overcoming, and it's going to be a very preachy movie, and it's not going to be about the story. It's just going to be about women struggling in general, and being women empowered, and we can do anything that men can do, blah blah blah. I mean, if we wanted that, we would just go ahead and just go home and watch feminist videos on YouTube. So that's why we don't particularly care for movies with female leads in them.
Are you surprised when women are funny?
I'm probably funnier than you.
Yeah, but when I'm funny, I'm doing it on purpose. To be honest with you, I mean, I'm kind of surprised when anybody turns out to be funny, guy or girl, because, I mean, comedy seems to be a lost art these days for the most part. So, I mean, yeah, women can be funny sometimes too, and men can be funny sometimes. It doesn't really matter. And men are surprised when women are funny. I really don't know where you're getting that, really.
Why do you think that we're obsessed with you when we hook up?
9 times out of 10, I just want you to leave too. I'm busy. I got shit to do.
Why do you assume when we hook up that we're automatically going to give you a call back? You know, whoever wrote this question, I don't really think he or she has ever really has much experience courting women. I mean, when men and women hook up, I mean, women very rarely want there to be absolutely no follow-up. I mean, it does happen sometimes, but it's pretty rare. In fact, if you leave right after that type of an intimate encounter, most women will go into panic mode and they will definitely not like you for it. There has to be not necessarily some sort of follow up afterwards, although usually there does. But you know, you have to sort of stay around, reassure her that you're not abandoning her because you know women have a very serious fear of abandonment.
Why can't I sleep with as many people as I want to without being judged? When men do it, they're congratulated.
Why can't I refrain from sexual activity or dating in general without being judged for it? When women do it, they're congratulated, or at least they're seen as acceptable. I mean, question has been answered so many times. I mean, okay, basically, it's a lot more difficult for men to court women and men to get women into bed, therefore they are congratulated. Plus, men are expected to do that, therefore they're congratulated, whereas women are expected to protect their virginities. Therefore, when they give it up, unless they're married, or if they give it up to a lot of guys, they're seen as not doing their job, and that's basically how it is.
Why do you consider a woman a tease if she doesn't sleep with you after 3 dates, but a slut if she sleeps with you on the first date?
Why do you consider a guy an asshole if he doesn't call you by the third day, but thirsty if he calls you on the first? Okay, this goes to the 3-date rule. The short answer is the 3-date rule. Look it up. But just to sum it up for you, if the guy doesn't close the deal by the third date, chances are the relationship is not going anywhere. So if you don't have sex with him by the third date, he's going to figure that the relationship is not going to pan out at all. Unless you're one of those wait until marriage types, you know, which has its own problems. As far as, you know, thinking you're a slut if you sleep with him on the first date, I mean, usually if a woman sleeps with you on the first date, it's because she only wanted that and she's not interested in a relationship. She's just interested in hooking up. So that's where the attitude of the slut comes in. Now, of course, there are always exceptions to every rule. I mean, there are people who have sex on the first date and end up getting married. And there are people, I guess, who go past the third date and never have sex and don't have sex for even a longer time. And then, you know, have a good relationship, or they do have sex by the third date and it tanks. But basically, you know, you got to close the date by the third. You got to close the deal by the third date. Or if you want to avoid the judgment, as you like to put it, you can just have sex with them on the second date, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
What world does no mean yes?
No means no.
In what world does, oh shit, my boyfriend is going to find out about this, mean he raped me? Yes, rape bad. We know this. Thank you very much. Moving on.
Why do you say that women are too emotional to be leaders?
Then justify catcalling by saying men just can't control themselves.
Why do you say you're working towards a world where men can freely express their opinions or their emotions, and then you shame them every time they complain about something, you know, drinking your male's tear cup, or then you go on a diatribe about how wrong it is to complain about being friend-zoned? Okay, fact. Okay, women run on their emotions, on their feelings. Men go on facts and logic. It's just a fact of life. Okay. Now, as far as, you know, being good leaders goes, I mean, in order to be a good leader, you have to put your emotions aside and you have to think about what's honestly best for, you know, the people that you lead. Can't let feelings get in the way. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean women can't be leaders. I mean, but you do have to be able to, you know, put your feelings aside and go on the facts and go on logic and, you know what's going on. Now, as far as the, you know, men catcalling thing, okay, first of all, like I said before, men are expected to interact with women. We're expected to hit on them. We're expected to go out and reproduce, you know, spread our seed around. Women are not expected to be leaders. And yes, men can be obnoxious when they do this, especially when a strange guy comes up to you on the street and he's just like, you know, acting like an idiot. Yes, I can understand why that upsets you. But the thing is, the fact of the matter is, all men are expected to interact with females and try to hook up with females, if you will. Not all women are expected to be leaders. So take that as it will.
Why do you think that just because you're nice to me, I owe you my body?
Why do you think just because you agreed to have sex with me, I owe you my money? Okay, so this goes basically back again to men are expected to hit on women. We're expected to, court them and have sex with them. That's what people expect of us. Okay, and what feminists and a lot of people say is, oh, just be nice, be a gentlemanly, and that's what gets you women. And they don't really tell you the truth of the matter. And then guys are nice to you, and they do all these nice things that you say that you want to do, just be a gentleman, and then they act surprised when they don't get it. So so not every guy is going to know all the nuances of dating. So, I'm sorry, but it's a learning process.
Why would you ever send an unsolicited dick pic?
Hey, I'll have you know that every dick pic I ever sent out was solicited for. This question actually is legitimate, other than the fact that, they're kind of implying that all men do this, which is obviously wrong. But yeah, I will say it. Some men are idiots and some guys do this, just for the hell of it because they think the girl will think it's cute or sometimes. And, on very rare occasions they actually do. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, guys don't do that. Yes, totally agree with you on that one.
Why do you feel like it's okay to harass women or make offensive comments about women, but when somebody does it to your sister, it's not okay?
Who told you it wasn't okay to say these things about my sister? Okay, look. Everybody has an innate need to protect women. That be men and women, men especially, but women do have that, instinct to protect women also, and children. But it's actually stronger for women. Okay, but the thing is, men, we're smart enough to know that we cannot protect every single woman out there from every little snide remark that may come up. So when guys say stuff like that about women we don't know, that's why we don't tend to protect them quite as fiercely. But we are taught to, protect our family, namely our mothers, our sisters, and all that stuff. And so that's why we take things like that personally. That's why you'll see, you'll say, fuck them dumb bitches around one guy, and he'll be like, yeah. And then, fuck your sister, and then he'll be like, wait a minute, and he'll take it personally. That's why it is. It's because of who we're trained to protect. And that's it.
How does it feel to interrupt me when I'm in the middle of making a point during a meeting?
Notice there how she said, how does it feel? It feels just like it does interrupting a guy. And, if the culture at your workplace is people interrupt each other, you can either accept it as is, or you can talk to your manager or HR or, do something about trying to get more order at these meetings so that people don't interrupt each other, because I doubt it's just simply men interrupting women and that's it.
Why do you have to sit with your legs so wide open?
I get that you have balls, but I don't stand around with my arms wide open to make room for my boobs.
Why do you constantly sit with your legs crossed regardless of what you're wearing? I mean, I get that feminism teaches you that you can be raped at any moment, but I mean, I don't go around with a butt plug in me to prevent that. It's actually more of a hip to shoulder ratio thing. Look it up.
Why are women perceived as the weaker sex, even though we literally birth you, like watermelons through like this?
Why?
If you honestly do believe that you are every bit just as strong as men, or if not stronger, then why are you constantly in fear of being raped? And also, why are you constantly saying how men need to step up and fight for your equality?
Why is it so bad to show your emotions?
It means you're human.
Why do you get so offended when we complain about being in the friend zone? We're just expressing our emotion.
Why are you always trying to prove your masculinity to me?
Why do you always say you want a nice guy who happens to be a gentleman and then jump into bed with the first asshole you come across? One of my philosophies in life is if you truly are intelligent, if you truly are badass, if you truly are sexy, you don't really need to tell or convince anybody. They'll just figure it out. So if a guy is trying to prove his masculinity to you and it's painfully obvious to you, either one, he doesn't have it and he wants to sleep with you anyway, or two, he's actually not trying to prove it to you and you're just figuring it out by yourself and it's that obvious to you. So that's all I can really say on that.
Why the f isn't it ladylike to cuss? When did words get gendered?
Why the fuck do you care? It doesn't make either gender look good or bad, okay? Or if anything, it doesn't make anybody look good at all. So it's got nothing to do with, it not being ladylike. As far as when did words become gendered, I don't know. Ask Tumblr.
Why is it your first instinct to doubt women who have been sexually violated or raped?
Why do you still stand with Jackie even after the Rolling Stone admitted it was all a lie?
Why do you assume a woman's angry because she's on her period?
Because we do, all right?
Why do you think women that wear makeup are false advertising? We can say the same thing about your dick size.
Why do you go through all that effort and then just say that we're objectifying you? I mean, I don't know why guys say, oh, makeup it's false advertisement. I mean, yes, a woman does look different when she gets up in the morning, but as far as the whole dick size thing goes, unless the guy is, purposely stuffing socks into his shorts and all that stuff, I really don't see how a dick could be false advertisement. I mean, he takes off his pants and, I mean, if he's a grower, do you think that's false advertisement? I mean, it is going to affect you when it's erect, regardless of, what size it is when it's flaccid. I mean, so I really don't know what this dick being false advertisement comes from. Sorry.
Why isn't it weird that there's a bunch of old white men sitting in a room making legislation about what I can and can't do with my body?
Why isn't it weird that you complain about old white men being in government and then you probably go out and support Bernie Sanders? When you say that, making decisions about your body, I'm assuming that you're talking about abortion. When was the last time abortion was really brought to the forefront and talked about? I mean, yeah, in the presidential race, people talk about whether they're, for abortion or against it, but it's not going to be brought up as far as, trying to overturn Roe v. Wade. That's not going to happen anytime soon. They just really do have bigger fish to fry. So I really don't see what your point is.
Do you have a coochie?
No, women have coochies. I'm a man, therefore I have a cock. Why, would you like to see it? See, I told you all my dick's pics that I send out were solicited.
Why are straight guys so obsessed with lesbians?
We're not obsessed with lesbians, we just like to watch that type of porn.
How does it feel to get kicked in the balls?
Okay, now seriously, let's think about this for a minute. The testicles are, for all intents and purposes, an internal organ that's held outside the body, okay? And they are highly sensitive. They are used in sexual arousal, okay? Which is why during oral sex, men like to say, don't neglect the balls. I'm not going to get too much into that, but you know what I'm talking about. Now just think if an organ under those conditions, just think about something like that suffering blunt force trauma. You know how much blunt force trauma hurts when you get hit in the head or, just in some part of the body that's covered up by flesh and muscle and all that stuff? Yeah, just think about it.
Do you ever get tired of trying to be manly all the time?
Nope, never get tired of it. Quite enjoy it, actually. Why do you?
Why are you so afraid of gender equality?
I don't have a problem with gender equality. That's why I live in the United States, where we have gender equality. If I really was afraid of it, I would go to Saudi Arabia or some other third world Muslim country where women don't have equal rights. Of course, I guess Europe is starting to look like a pretty good option for that too.
Why do I deserve to be paid less than you?
In what world does 77 cents equal $1?
In what world does 68 cents equal $1?
Ah, I see what you did there. Yeah, I see what you did here. Yeah, the white woman, she gets paid 70 cents on the dollar for every dollar a man makes, and the black woman gets 68 cents on the dollar for every dollar a man makes. Yep, I see what you did there. Okay, look, there are tons of other people that have refuted this. I mean, seriously, why do you insist on pushing this narrative when it has been disproven time and time and time again? I'm not going to get into why it's bullshit because you should know why. And you know what? I'll bet you do why. I think you really do know why. You do know it's bunk. So I'm not going to comment on that anymore.
Why are you intimidated by a woman who makes more money than you? That's awesome! More money!
Okay, unless we're talking a very rich woman with a kept man, the vast, vast, vast majority of women out there do not want to be with a guy that makes less money than them. I'm sorry, but it's just a sad fact of life, okay? Take it as you will. Kind of like most men would prefer to be with a woman who's better looking than he is. Unless you're talking about a Hollywood leading man. And even then, he at least wants to be with a woman who's comparable to him. But anyway, like I said, women have pretty much a big problem with men, making less money than them, and they may be okay with it for a while, but in the long run, they're gonna want the guy who makes more money than they do. That's just fact of life. Sorry.
Why are opinionated women seen as bitches?
When opinionated men are seen as bosses.
I don't know. Watch this video. You'll get an idea for it. Okay, the whole women are bitches and men are bosses thing, it really doesn't matter as far as men or women goes. You see, the thing is, if you say something that a person agrees with, they're going to think you're a boss, okay? And if you say something that they don't agree with, they're going to think you're a bitch. And that's really how it works. So, I mean, if you were to go up to some misogynistic guy and you said, women are only good for cooking, cleaning, conceiving, he's going to go, yes, you are a smart woman, you know what's right, you're a boss, and all that stuff. And if you go up to a, feminist woman and say, women do get the wage gap is a myth, they're going to think you're a bitch or internalized misogyny or whatever. So it's got nothing to do with men or women. It's got to do with, whether or not that person agrees or disagrees with you.
Why aren't you speaking up when you hear your male friends behind closed doors make jokes that are offensive to women?
If it's behind closed doors, why do you care? Plus, you mean to tell me that if you're sitting up with a bunch of your girlfriends and they start making, jokes about men that are clearly offensive to men, laughing about, a guy getting his dick chopped off by his wife because he wanted to divorce her, do you honestly think you would speak up and say, hey, that's sexist, that's not right, we shouldn't be doing that? Or do you think you'd be laughing right along with him? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Why are you so afraid of recognizing your own privilege? Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just recognize it and do something about it.
You're right. I mean, it's not fair that every time I go to the movie theater and there's a whole line filled with women and minorities, they all just say, oh shit, here comes the white boy, everybody make way. It's not fair that, whenever a ship goes down, all I got to do is pull out my white boy card and, I get a lifeboat all to myself. And it's not fair that, I'm not part of a protected class or anything like that. And, it's not fair that whenever I go to a bank and, you know, they tell me my account's too low, I just pull out my white boy card and they say, okay, sir, we'll put another 5,000 in your bank account, just to be fair and all that stuff. It's really just so bad that I just have all this privilege. I really need to do something about this. So anyway, if you like this video, go ahead and like. Please comment, rate, subscribe. You know the drill. This is Mr. Anderson talking for Toxic Masculinity. And until we meet next time, just remember to rejoice as you bathe in your own toxic masculinity. And if you'll excuse me now, I gotta go tear up my white boy card.